Welcome, everyone, to another episode of Global Harmony and Impact, the podcast where we explore how Rotary connects the world one club, one cause, and one powerful story at a time. I'm Robert Friend, District Governor for Rotary Southern Connecticut, and I am thrilled to guide today's conversation as we dive into the engine of Rotary's vitality and future, membership. This Rotary year, we've already seen incredible progress with a net gain of over 50 members across our district. We're proving that momentum is real and that when we align mission, message, and meaningful action, people respond. But with just 90 days left in this Rotary year, the big question remains: how do we finish strong? How do we keep our members deeply engaged? And how do we grow Rotary club by club, person by person? And I'm honored to be joined today by three inspiring leaders who are shaping that growth and setting the pace for the future. First, District Governor-elect Stephanie Phillips, who's already laying the foundation for the next Rotary year with continuity, energy, and vision. Tom Sansone, the membership chair of the Fairfield Rotary Club, who's leading one of the most innovative local membership efforts in our district. And Nancy Morin, president of the Old Saybrook Rotary Club, a club that's made waves with this year by welcoming 12 plus new members and building a culture that's clearly resonating with its community. Together, we're going to explore what's working, what we still need to improve, and how every club, no matter its size or location, can make measurable difference in the next 90 days. So let's dive in. Stephanie, let's start with you as we look toward your incoming year as district governor. What's your biggest hope for where membership will be on July 1st? And how are you planning for continuity in this effort? You know, what's the health of our district from your perspective? What's going well? Where are the red flags? What's your perspective?
Well, Robert, first I want to thank you for having me here. It's been an honor to be on this. This is a new medium that for many of us that we haven't had a chance to explore. And I think this is one of the first and newest tools that we can connect with our members and be able to share some of the good work that we're doing. You know, you asked about how strong our district is. Our district is doing very strong. I'm very proud of it. We're one of the few districts that are still growing. However, as we grow, we're not growing in leaps and bounds. We're sort of inching our growth. And our goal is to sort of double that, triple that, because we have a district that accomplish a lot of work, good work around the world and locally. And that's the message we need to convey. The other part of it is we can do it with a lot of fun. And you're going to hear that as I talk to you about it for this period, that as we move forward, we have to remember that our members want to be engaged and they want to feel good about what they're doing and have some fun. So I think that we have a great goal. I think we're going to grow our membership. My focus next year will be on community service because I believe that as we feel good about the work that we're doing, we'll have some more fun. And when we have fun, people want to be a part of us. And that's the best message and the best formula for growing membership.
I love that, Steph. And you know, one of the big service projects we have coming up is Epic Day of Service. So for the entire district to come together and galvanize in an effort to really bring in the community to their projects, that's really where it's at. We are connecting with the community, right?
Exactly. And, you know, one of the messages that I hope we come away with today is that what we do should not just be within Rotarians. We should invite the public. We should partner with other organizations. We can do so much if we ask other people to join us, and we'll have more fun because they will see what we're doing. We'll get to be a part of their lives as well. And we don't need to worry about membership because we are a great organization. And when people meet us, they want to join us.
And it's infectious. You know, I agree
It's
with I agree with that. Tom, how are you? Thanks for being here today. You know, Fairfield Rotary's been doing some standout work in attracting and engaging new members. What are some of the key actions or mindsets that have helped you build real momentum?
Well, again, first, Robert, let me reiterate Stephanie's thanks for inviting me today. It was a pleasure to be invited. As you know, I'm a fairly new member. I started only in December of 23, so a little bit over a year. But, you know, I immediately became very engaged with the Fairfield Rotary. The people are great. and it made you want to get engaged immediately. Early on in my tenure as a membership chair, the president, Alon Sapir, and I decided it was a good time for us to do a survey, a membership survey. And it became pretty clear, to Stephanie's point earlier, that what was missing was people are hungry for communication. You know, I believe even in my professional job, I always said you can't over communicate. And so what we started doing was we started every time we have a board meeting. After the board meeting, I put out, in a bit of a scrubbed version, but I put out the minutes of the board meeting to all of our members to let them know what's going on. Also, at least once or twice a week, we put out a calendar now that we built that takes us out for at least 6 months of all the events and whatnot, so people can plan. So we're starting to see that there's a lot more engagement now because people know what's coming, they can anticipate it, and that's what started some momentum for us.
That's fantastic. And how many members are your club right now, Tom? How big is your community there?
We have 60, and as a lot of what I'm sure a lot of clubs experience, of the 60, about 30 are, I would say, active on a regular basis at the meetings. We'd like to change that. We're working hard to change that, but we have 60 on a regular basis.
And so, are there any specific things other than the things that you mentioned? Are there any boots on the ground kind of things that you're doing, event area wise, or that are driving engagement?
Well, one of the things we did, and I think it was actually an idea that was floated a while ago by one of our other district governors, Robert Vasselin, and it was I ran a one member, one lead campaign. Because we lost 2 members early on in the year because of personal reasons. And I said, oh my God, here I am, membership chair. I already lost 2 members, And they said, calm down, don't worry, that's not uncommon. And we have a goal this year. We've set a goal for 65. So as a result of this one member, one lead, we now have about 15 leads that we're actively pursuing.
That's great.
Of the 15, 2 of them have already become members. 1 is in the process. And so, we continue to, tell our members, shake the bushes. It might be a neighbor, it might be somebody you just met, and we're trying to update all of our literature to get the literature out there a little bit more of a young look, to get the QR code on it and things like that, so people realize it's not just a bunch of stodgy old men, in this group. It's men and women, and it's a young group.
I love that. And I think one of the things I've always espoused is get the names and information of people you in the community and put it in your database and communicate with them. Even if you send them the weekly minutes and whatnot, have a conversation with them, invite them to all your projects. You never know what will come through. And as a lead or as a prospect, a person that someone knows, that you can continue to give them information about the great work we do in the community. So great.
The other thing we did, Robert, is, and as Stephanie knows, we recently had an event called Pillars of the Community, which was very well turned out. We had over 130 people that attended.
Wow.
And so what I'm in the process of doing right now is, because we used Zelle for payment, I have all of those emails. So I've put together a little slideshow of all pictures, and along with that slideshow, we're going to just happen to slip in some. Do you want to sponsor a golf event? Do you want to become a membership? Here's an application, and we'll see what that does for us. So that's 130 potential leads right there.
Like-minded people who care, who come out, who touch you. You continue to give them information, and then at that point, it's just a matter of letting them fall into your community, and you're doing great. That's fantastic. Nancy, how are you? Thanks for joining us this morning. So I was just at your club meeting this week, and Old Saybrook is just such a vitality of a group of vital members, and you welcomed over 12 new members, I believe, this year. What do you think has clicked? What's been the turning point or a specific strategy that made a difference for Old Saybrook?
Well, first of all, Robert, thank you for inviting me. You pulled me right from the gym to get home to get on here. But I think what really happened for us, it's been happening. Last year, there were 15 people that came on board, 15 to 17. This year, we're 13 right now.
Wow.
You have to just put one into the system. And it's getting them to the meetings. If you can get a potential member to the meeting, And the enthusiasm is there. I mean, it's just there. You know, you take a look at any of the clubs that you go to, people are there because they want to be there. They want to make a difference. And it's like I don't know, it feels family, you know? So if you can get them there, they will probably come back again. And that's the important part. But one of the things that we did in the very beginning of this year, as I came in as president, I wanted to get everybody involved. I looked at the club and I just felt like there were members that were not involved in some way. So I put up on the wall papers for committees. We had listed about 30 committees. I asked for chairs. I asked for people to volunteer to be on the committee. And everybody had to sign up for something. So that got some people involved where they wouldn't necessarily be. But then I think what's really important is after these members come into the club is to have an orientation, get 2 or 3 people together, invite other members to come in too that might need a brushing up. And I really focus on in those meetings, my Rotary, and all those essential things that where they can pop into for learning and if they've got something that there's really interested in, to go further and to get more information on it. So just keeping the club involved. I know it's so hard. It's breaking my heart right now, knowing that the end of the year is coming and we might lose a couple along the way. And what are we going to do? What didn't I do? I mean, even for us as presidents, AGs, there's just always so much learning out there. Someone's always doing something that you can say, oh, that works. So when I go to the gym, I take my cell phone, I put my ear pods in, and I'm listening to Rotary podcast, Rotary whatever.
I love it.
So that's where I'm getting my information
fantastic.
from.
That's great.
That's great.
Yeah, you know, it's so funny because when I was at your club meeting the other day, there was a new potential member there, and I saw his face at the end. You could see how bright he was, how excited he was. I'm sure he's going to join. There's no question in my mind. And you're right. You know, club meetings are a place where you can show where you can bring the energy of your club. And then, of course, as Stephanie said, service, and you do a ton of service. So fantastic work. Stephanie, you know, we know that retention is the hidden engine of growth, right?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Whereas, in fact, you know, to talk about some of the numbers, we get like 100 new members, but then we lose about 100 members. So the net is really negligible.
Yeah.
And what we really have as an opportunity right in our hands is keeping the members that we have, keeping them engaged. And, you know, the things that we do that are really good, we need to do more of, have more fun, relax. I talk a lot about the club experience. As a president, we shouldn't ask our presidents to get bogged down in too much of the minutia. Relax a little bit. The rules are really whatever we want to make them so that the club feels like they're a part of it. And getting them into a meeting, having good speakers is always one of the first rules. You know, we always talk about that. But in addition to that, we want to engage them in the conversation about what's going on in the club. We want to call out those members, each one of them, to ask them, what do you think? Give them an opportunity to input on what's going on, the projects, the community service. We all know that there's people who are quiet, sometimes want to sit in the background. But what we need to worry about is that we don't lose them as they're sitting back. We need to engage them, make that extra effort, and include the whole club to embrace them. And for people we don't see, give them a call, find out what's going on. You know, let's maybe they're ill, maybe there's a family member. We're a family. Let's put our arms around them. Let's give them a call, find out what's going on. We might be able to help.
Well, I'll play off of that because you're hitting on something that I firmly believe in. You know, when you don't hear from somebody for a while, they haven't been to a meeting, there's nothing stopping any of us bringing a bouquet of flowers and leaving them on their front porch, bringing them a Starbucks or a Dunkin' Donuts coffee and donut, whatever it is, let them know that we care and miss them. And then if you have a hybrid club, you can make sure they get online to a hybrid meeting or whatever.
Absolutely.
But I think it's important. I know that's a big key part. And picking up the phone doesn't take but a moment. So
Doesn't take much of a moment. One of the little tips that I like to leave with clubs, get a box of cards that don't really have a particular message on it, just general cards. And when you haven't seen someone for a while, pass a card around, write get well on it, recovery, whatever the story might be.
and send it
Have the
out.
club members and send them a card. Or even if it's just a couple of people, send them a card. It's such a wonderful thought when you receive that card and know that somebody was thinking of you.
Hey, Nancy, do you do that sort of thing in your club? When you haven't seen someone for a long time, are you reaching out to them? Is that something that you're doing?
I mean, we do it on an individual basis. If there's a sickness, we'll send a card around, have
Yeah.
people sign it.
Yeah.
But you can never do too much of it.
Yeah.
And that, Stephanie, I love the reminder of doing it. And I love the buying the box of cards, having it in your bag when you're at the meeting and saying, hey, we haven't seen so-and-so in a while.
Yeah.
I love that idea.
And I also love the whole value thing that you're doing, Nancy, because when you involve a particular member that walks in the door at the first day and they need to sign up, they've got 30 committees and they go in, they pick one or whatever, and now they're engaged. That to me is the key. Now they're on a committee. There's a plan. There's sidebar engagements that are happening that are reportable at the club meetings. They might be given the lead, a new member. I mean, look at Tom. Look at Tom. You've been here for not a year, maybe year and a half, and you're the membership chair of Fairfield. I mean, Rotary. That's amazing, and the fact that you have a passion for what you're doing, you're finding new things every day. I'm sure for what you're doing. Is that right?
Yes, yes. And I want to just pick up on what Stephanie was saying about reaching out. One of the things we started since I've been a membership chair is we do take attendance at every meeting, even though it's not mandatory. We take it primarily just so that we can do this type of follow-up. And then what I do is each month, at a minimum, I review that with the board. And if we see someone who has not been to a meeting in a while, and if that we're not familiar with, why they're not coming, for maybe some people have a business, the board will divvy up who reaches out, and we reach out to them. We recently found out one gentleman had back surgery. Again, if you wouldn't know that if you just let them go. So that's what we started doing now, and we let them know the attendance is not mandatory, but we're doing this as a follow-up because we care.
That's so powerful. I love all this. Well, let's Nancy, I have a question for you because you brought in so many new members this year, and of course last year as well. How is Old Sabre keeping them engaged and supported? You talked about the initial thing you do in the year, but are you doing anything from an onboarding standpoint beyond the membership of committees? Do you have mentorship moments throughout the year? What are the things that are keeping them actively engaged?
Well, first of all, if there's a district, like back in January, the district training, we really reached out and tried to get as many of these new members to come to that training. So that was very helpful because every one of them came back really excited about what was going on in the district. I've recently put together a sign-up sheet for a meeting greeter, the prayer person. So those are all like jobs that somebody can have right away. And then I just send out a reminder before the agenda goes out. But just really working hard to getting them involved. But another thing I'd like to mention about getting new members in and looking at clubs that are not bringing in new members, I really feel that you have to do that invite. I never would have been in Rotary if somebody did not physically come up to me on a beach and say to me, probably didn't even really know me that well, I've been watching you with your grandson, and I really think you'd be a great Rotarian. Wow. And I thought, what's a Rotarian? What's a Rotary? Wow. I had no idea. But I had recently retired, had my own little business I was doing, and I was looking for something to do. It was in another direction, but I said, okay, I'll go to a meeting. And I think it was during COVID at the time. So everybody was doing it online. But there was just something about at that meeting, something that connected. So if you don't ask, you're not going to get anywhere. And you have to ask. You're in the doctor's office. I had a great conversation with my physician the other day, all about Rotary, only to find out that he had been in Rotary, president and what. You've got to talk about it.
Wow.
And if you
That's the
talk
key.
about it and ask, that's how you get people to come visit your club. So tonight we have the big event, the wine, beer, and cheers tasting event and silent auction at the Point. And yes, I've got a poster that we just put together, why join, come to a meeting. And it's just a matter of asking, because it's not going to happen if you don't.
That's fantastic. Oh, so good. Great to hear. Now, I'm curious if in that exchange, did you didn't know that individual well, but how incredible that you were able to engage and connect just from a conversation on the beach. It's just fascinating. Well, I had the same thing happened to me. I was on the airport sitting next to a woman who was having lunch. She said, "This is the most amazing place. I'm going to fly back here just for the meals." And we just started talking. She knew nothing about Rotary. Now it looks like she's going to be joining our district. She's not even in our district. She's going to join our e-club. And it's so you never know until you have the conversation what's going to happen. So that's brilliant. That's brilliant. So,
Robert, I just heard something that I wanted to just touch off, if that's okay.
Please.
In the conversation, both Tom and Nancy, who are excellent, I mean, this is the best representation, both mentioned about the follow-up with their members.
Yeah.
And I think that's something we need to talk a little bit more about, that even though a member has joined, it might have been 1 year, 2 years, 3 years after they've joined, to do that check-in with them. Find out, are they happy? Are they feeling satisfied? Are they as excited as they were before? And what can we do to get them excited again if they're not? And I think that's sort of the way we can help grow our membership. I think of Rotary in a club a little bit like a marriage and a family. You get started, you get all that, buzz and excitement, that yearning and all. And then after a couple of years or so, it becomes, okay, I know that one, been there, done that. And now you need to refresh it. You got to spark that love again. And I think we need to think of it in the same way and kind of go back and say, hey, what else can we do? And engage them or find out if they want to do something that we didn't even know. Because a lot of times members have ideas that they would love to explore, love to engage in. And if we don't ask, we don't know.
Yeah, no, it's so true. Thank you for touching on that. So listen, we've got 90 days left. What would you say to a club president or membership chair listening right now? What actions should they be taking this week to grow their clubs? And I throw this out to all three of you. What are the things that we should be messaging and really asking those leaders to step up and work with our clubs to engage, to grow their clubs and to keep the momentum moving? Anyone?
I think what our club presidents probably need to do right now is to make this part of the agenda and to remind people we're all in this together. And we do want to grow. We want to bring in new ideas. It's all about new ideas, new energy. And now is the time to do it. Spring is coming. The weather's getting lighter. It's a great time to do it. That's
great. Anybody else?
That's a good message.
Robert,
Tom.
Robert, I would say I think it's all about visibility, and we touched on that a couple of times here. I'm in the process of putting together a couple of materials for our club. One is a new table cover. And I'm actually redesigning that table cover using a friend of yours, AI, because I found I can't find what I was looking for, and I wanted a table cover that shows men and women middle age interacting. So the table cover is going to actually have pictures of people on it, not just the Rotary gear. Something makes it more engaging to bring them over to the table to talk to us. That, along with the banner, and I think if you get people to talk to us and they see what we do, the next step is easy. They want to join because most people want to do good for their community. Most people, especially in the crazy world we have these days, people are looking to do good. And I think we give them the opportunity to do good. It's just that they don't know that. When I joined Rotary, I told Alon, our president, that this was one of the best kept secrets. I didn't even know anything about it. I started looking at Mason, I started looking at this and that, and I stumbled across Rotary, and I love it.
Yeah, public image you're hitting on something really, really important. That's why the work we're doing here and the work we do in social media is so important. We're about to launch. I'm excited about this. This is new to all of you, except for maybe Stephanie, but we're about to launch a 30-day social incentive for every club. That's kind of a friendly competition where we post and we celebrate Rotary in every club online and see what happens, because we need to get out there and we need to hit all the social platforms, whether it be Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok, although we'll see if TikTok still but be that as it may, I mean, it's about telling our story. We're storytellers. I think that's the most important thing. So Tom, you're absolutely correct. We've got to tell our stories. We've got to let it resonate, and use your Chamber of Commerce's, use your Convention Visitor Bureau, use your leaders in the community, connect and be present at the major events in your community. Engage. You've got to be out there in the community, and that's when people see you and find you. And when you have the leaders as part of your community internally, then you become the stop. You become the must engage area to the community. So I know that in my club, Madison, we're seeing that growth. I know in Old Saybrook and in Fairfield, you all are seeing it too. So and also Stratford. So that's real important. So listen, I'm gonna segue over to what I think is real important as we head towards the close of this podcast, and that's new club creation and innovation. As we think bigger, Stephanie, we know that growth isn't just about joining existing clubs. It's also about new models, satellite clubs, e-clubs, cause-based clubs, impact clubs. How can the district be more assertive in creativity and encouraging this kind of growth? Because it's about opening our blinders to the possibilities of relationships that can bring in groups of people. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, the very first thing is for us to convey that starting an e-club, starting an interest-based cause group, a satellite group, it's easy. Most people think starting another club is, oh my God, it's going to be hard. I've got to do this and paperwork and so forth. No, it is so easy. And we've got to take that fear out of it's hard. The second part of that is we have and know groups of people who may not be able to come to our meetings because of the time, the location, but they want to be involved. What we could do, and this is something I talk to clubs about, is don't always just focus on the meeting. Focus on what we're doing. Get them to come to an event, a community service, and you'll find that groups of people have common interests. Take that common interest and simply, you only need 8 people, and suggest to them, how about becoming a club around that interest? That simple. And normally there's 1 or 2 people who have some enthusiasm, some energy. Grab those people and say, hey, we could put a club together on something you're interested in. Bring your friends and use the social part of it to start that club, and explain to them they can set it up any way they want. They don't have to have meetings, and they can do it anytime, but they get to do something they enjoy.
Yeah, no, I love that. And I think one of the fears I've heard out there is, well, I'm afraid that if we start an e-club or a satellite club in my community, I'll lose members from my club to go to that club. Mm-hmm. And here's my tip for those people that are thinking that. Any member can be an associate member of any other club. You can't be you can't be members of 2 Rotary clubs in your primary membership, but you can be an associate member. We have members in our club that are snowbirds. And they go down to Florida or wherever. Mm-hmm. There are parts of other clubs down there, but they're primary clubs up here. So don't know that can happen. And the other thing is don't dismiss the power of cause, because when you open up a cause-based idea like peace or mental health, wellness, or whatever, people will navigate and gravitate towards that because they want to be part of that. And you'll find people will come out of the woodwork to find something.
Absolutely.
And referrals. The other thing is, and I just heard this recently. I don't remember where I heard it, but when you bring in a new member, when they're fresh and new and invigorated, ask them to go out and bring in their friends.
Absolutely.
Because they are, and that's how you instantly bring members to touch. And then they see so-and-so joining and they say, oh, I'll join with you. And so we're seeing a lot of growth in the Madison Club around that as well. So I just think that we just need to think outside the box in terms of new clubs and not be afraid to open up that door. I've talked to a lot of presidents, and hopefully we continue that. And membership's big for you, Steph, right?
Membership is very big, but you said something else that I just want to tip off on. There are folks who think if I have another club, a satellite club, I'm going to lose member. Well, how about thinking about that you won't lose that member because they're not as engaged? And for those folks that we don't see that often, we may find out that it's the time or the interest or something else. If we build a satellite club around that, then we might retain them. And we won't lose those 100 people every year, and we'll actually double and triple our growth.
That's right.
It's our fears that are holding us back. And I want us to have some fun and take that leap of faith. Try it. Look for a yes, not a no. You'll find that the rewards are far greater than the risk.
Awesome. Well, I have one last question for the three of you. So if you had to leave one message with our listeners about Rotary membership as a force for good in the world, what would it be? Let's start with Tom.
I think it's simple. It goes back to just do it. Just do it. Join up. And it's all about that and communication. Everything we touched on today is about communication. For example, just as far as starting up a new club, I think a lot of people, Robert, have the same feeling that you raised. Oh, that might be diluting our current club. Well, no, it's not. And Stephanie raised the reasons why it's not. So I think it's about education, visibility, and just do it.
Awesome. What about you, Nancy?
Tom, I couldn't have said it better. You took the words right away, but you just have to be vocal. You have to share that message with everybody. And I think welcoming is very important as well. Just embrace the moment.
That's great. And Steph?
I would like to leave the message that having fun and doing something that makes you feel good is the best combination that you could offer anyone. And when you talk to people, whether they're current members or new members, talk about how much fun it is to feel good, especially in today's climate. We've got a lot going on in our lives between kids and work and other things that are going on. We want something positive. Rotary is positive. We feel good, we have fun. We just have to remind folks. And to Tom's point, we need to communicate that. And Nancy's point, we need to embrace people and remind them. I think those are the secret sauce that will make our clubs and our district even better.
Awesome. Well, listen, I can't thank you all enough. Today's conversation reminds us of something simple yet powerful. Growth in Rotary doesn't happen by accident. It happens when we lead with heart, welcome with purpose, and follow through with connection. It's all been said. So we're at a pivotal moment. With 90 days left in this Rotary year, every interaction matters. Every invitation, every check-in, every opportunity to tell someone they belong. It all adds up to building stronger clubs and a stronger district. So let's not lose our momentum. Let's use it. Let's finish this year with a flourish and set the stage for a bold and inclusive and engaging Rotary year ahead with Stephanie leading us as district governor. And my deepest thanks to Steph and Tom and Nancy for sharing their passion and ideas and leadership. And thank you to all of our Rotarians who are listening for all you do to make Rotary a movement of action, peace, and purpose. Until next time, keep imagining, keep connecting, and keep building global harmony and impact. Have a great day, everyone. Thank you.
Thank you.
Great.
Bye-bye.
This is exciting.